My 27th birthday began like any other, sunlight spilling through the thin curtains of my cramped apartment, painting golden stripes across the floor. I woke to the familiar buzz of my phone, a handful of birthday texts lighting up the screen. Some were from friends I hadn't seen in months, others from people I spoke to every day. There was comfort in the routine, in the way the world seemed to pause for a moment just to say, "Hey, you're still here. You matter." And of course, there was the cat that wasn't even ours. She'd wandered in months ago and never left, as if she'd claimed us instead of the other way around. She curled up on the couch, purring softly, a silent witness to my morning rituals. I spent the morning at my desk, working as a graphic designer for a small nonprofit. My days were filled with color palettes, typefaces, and endless drafts of flyers and logos. It wasn't glamorous, but I took pride in my work and the life I'd built for myself, one that was simple, self-made, and honest. At the office, my colleagues surprised me with a cake, store-bought but sweet, and a slightly off-key rendition of Happy Birthday. We laughed, snapped a few photos, and for a moment I felt genuinely celebrated, surrounded by people who knew the little things about me. Later, my parents called to remind me about dinner at the Gilded Spoon, the city's most exclusive restaurant. It was the kind of place with white tablecloths, sparkling chandeliers, and a menu that didn't list prices. I'd never felt comfortable in places like that, but my parents insisted. 27, they said, was a milestone worth celebrating in style. They wanted to toast to my future, to mark the occasion with something grand. I could see the excitement in their eyes, their hopes that this dinner would be a memory we'd cherish. So I put on my best dress, the one I saved for special occasions, and tried to match their enthusiasm. I told myself to enjoy the moment, to let myself be swept up in the excitement, completely unaware of what the night would bring. On the bus ride downtown, I found myself lost in thought. I thought about my family, my parents, always so polished and put together, and my grandfather, Walter Sterling, a billionaire whose presence loomed large but distant in my life. He was a figure I rarely saw, more myth than man, his wealth a backdrop to my ordinary existence. His world was one of private jets and sprawling estates, while mine was defined by second-hand furniture and thrift store finds. I never expected our paths to cross in any meaningful way, but as the city lights blurred past the bus window, I had no idea that tonight our worlds would collide in a way I could never have imagined, a way that would change everything I thought I knew about my family and about myself. My birthday was about to become unforgettable, not for the reasons I'd hoped, but for all the ones I never saw coming. The restaurant was dazzling, crystal chandeliers, city views, and my parents already waiting. They greeted me with compliments and a designer handbag, a gift that felt more like a prop than a present. Suddenly, the manager announced another guest, my grandfather, Walter Sterling. He entered with quiet authority, his presence shifting the room's energy. He asked about my life, not just polite questions, but real ones about my dreams and passions. For the first time, I felt a genuine connection with him. I didn't realize this dinner was about to change everything. As dinner progressed, I opened my grandfather's envelope, a heartfelt card and a check that stunned me. Then he asked about my apartment at the Azure, the luxury building on the waterfront. I was confused. I'd never lived there. I told him I still lived with roommates on Maple Street. My parents fell silent, their faces pale. The air grew heavy as my grandfather's gaze sharpened. He realized something was wrong. The tension was suffocating. I felt a cold dread settle in. In that moment, I knew my life was about to unravel. The truth was about to come out. Nothing would ever be the same. Grandpa Walter turned to my father, demanding an explanation about the apartment he'd gifted me at 21. My parents crumbled, my father stammered, my mother stared at her plate. The truth spilled out. They'd managed the apartment, rented it out, and pocketed the income. The trust fund my grandfather set up for me drained to fund their lifestyle and cover my father's failed investments. They'd always planned to pay it back, but never did. My future had been stolen to fund their present. The expensive dinner, the gifts, it was all my money. I'd been struggling while they lived in luxury. The betrayal was total. I stood up, unable to breathe or look at them. The people I trusted most had deceived me completely. My world collapsed in a single shattering moment. I walked out lost and alone. I stumbled into the night, tears blurring the city lights. The pain of betrayal from my own parents was overwhelming. My grandfather and cousin Leo found me in a nearby park. Leo comforted me as I sobbed. Grandpa Walter apologized for not protecting me better. Back at the hotel, I felt numb, anger and grief warring inside me. It wasn't just about the money, it was about trust and the foundation of my life crumbling. That night, in a luxurious guest suite, I felt poorer than ever. Every memory of my parents' advice about independence now felt like manipulation. They'd kept me struggling so I'd never question the truth. The storm inside me raged on. I didn't know who I was anymore or who I could trust. My family had become strangers. I was left to pick up the pieces. The next morning, Grandpa Walter's lawyer, Mr. Henderson, laid out the evidence. Deeds, forged signatures, drained accounts. The trust fund had once held over $10 million. My parents had siphoned it away, bit by bit. They'd used a power of attorney I'd signed at 18, supposedly for emergencies, to take control of my finances. The theft was calculated and deliberate. Mr. Henderson explained my legal options: press charges, sue, or walk away. My parents waited in another room wanting to speak. I was torn between anger and exhaustion. Part of me wanted justice. Another part just wanted it to end. I needed to hear it from them myself. I braced myself for the hardest conversation of my life. The choice ahead would define my future. I had to decide what kind of person I wanted to be, and what I was willing to leave behind. My parents looked broken, desperate to explain and apologize. I stopped them. No more excuses. I told them they hadn't protected me. They'd used me. They let me struggle while they lived in comfort on my inheritance. My father blamed business failures and pride. My mother claimed they meant to tell me. Their words rang hollow. I realized the love and respect I'd felt for them was gone. They were strangers now, selfish, weak, and unworthy of my trust. There was no going back. The family I thought I had was gone forever. The pain was immense, but I felt strangely free. I was finally seeing the truth. I walked away, determined to start over. Afterward, I talked with my grandfather and Leo. It was a conversation I had been dreading, but I knew it was necessary. The weight of the decision I had to make was almost unbearable, and I needed their guidance more than ever. Leo urged me to press charges. He believed that justice needed to be served and that it was the only way to truly move on. He was passionate and insistent, his concern for me evident in every word he spoke. Grandpa Walter, on the other hand, said he'd support whatever brought me peace. His calm and steady presence was a balm to my troubled mind. He reminded me that the most important thing was my well-being and that I had to do what felt right for me. I realized I didn't want revenge or a public trial. I wanted to heal and move forward. The thought of dragging everything into the open, of reliving the pain, was too much to bear. I needed to find a way to put it behind me and start anew. I decided not to press criminal charges, but set strict conditions. It was a compromise, a way to take control of the situation without causing more harm. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but it felt like the right path. My parents would sign over all assets bought with my money. It was a way to reclaim what was rightfully mine and to ensure that they couldn't take advantage of me any longer, and sever all financial ties. This was a crucial step in breaking free from their control and starting my own journey. My grandfather would help them start over, providing them with the means to rebuild their lives. It was a generous gesture, one that showed his compassion and desire to see everyone move forward. But their life of luxury was finished. They would have to learn to live within their means, to adapt to a new reality without the comforts they had grown accustomed to. We met one last time to sign the papers, an official end to a chapter that had been filled with both joy and pain. No hugs, no goodbyes, just a business transaction. It was a stark reminder of how far we had drifted apart, of the emotional distance that now separated us. As I left, I felt only sadness for the family I'd lost, a deep sense of mourning for what could have been. But I also felt a sense of relief, knowing that I was finally free to live my life on my own terms, and a quiet resolve to build a new life. It was a daunting prospect, but one that filled me with a sense of hope and determination. I chose truth over revenge. It was a decision that brought me peace, knowing that I had stayed true to myself and my values. I chose to break free. The past was over. It was time to look forward, to embrace the future with open arms. My future was finally my own. For the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of control and possibility. I was ready to begin again, on my terms. The journey ahead was uncertain, but it was mine to navigate, and that made all the difference. The months that followed were hard. I felt like I was navigating through a fog, unsure of where to go or what to do next. The betrayal from my parents left a gaping hole in my heart, and the loneliness was almost unbearable at times. My grandfather's lawyers recovered some money and secured the apartment for me. It was a small victory in the midst of chaos, a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Moving in felt surreal, beautiful, but haunted by betrayal. The empty rooms echoed with memories of what I thought my life would be, and the silence was deafening. Yet there was also a sense of possibility, a blank canvas waiting to be filled with new experiences. Trusting people was difficult, but I wasn't alone. Friends reached out, offering support and a shoulder to cry on. Their kindness slowly chipped away at the walls I had built around my heart. Grandpa Walter became my rock, calling daily, sharing stories, and showing a side I'd never seen. His wisdom and warmth were like a balm to my wounded soul, reminding me that I was still loved and valued. Leo helped me rebuild, reminding me there were still good people in the world. Together, we painted the walls, assembled furniture, and turned the apartment into a home. His presence was a constant reminder that family could be chosen, not just inherited. Slowly, I healed, starting a new job, making new friends, and filling my home with my own memories. Each day was a step forward, a move towards reclaiming my life and my happiness. I learned that family isn't just blood, it's those who show up, who are honest, who love unconditionally. The people who stood by me during my darkest times became my true family. My grandfather and cousin became my true family. Their unwavering support and love were the foundation upon which I rebuilt my life. I lost the parents I thought I had, but found strength, honesty, and real connection. The pain of betrayal was real, but it also led me to discover the true meaning of family and friendship. Betrayal cut deep, but it wasn't the end of my story. It was a chapter that led to growth, resilience, and a deeper understanding of myself and those around me. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one built on truth. A chapter where I had the power to choose who I let into my life and who I kept at a distance. And this time, I got to choose who was in my life. Surrounded by love, honesty, and genuine connection, I found my true family and a place where I truly belonged.